Hi, this is Jeannie from Four Trimesters. I'm about to share some information that you may find helpful about giving birth in Singapore. So, just a little bit about Four Trimesters. We're a company that started 17 years ago, offering doula services as well as antenatal classes. All the pictures that you see in the following slides are photos of our clients, mostly giving birth at Four Trimesters Birth Sanctuary. The philosophy of care that we have is what is utmost important to us is to protect the mother's birthing experience. Whether she wants to have a drug-free birth, a birth with an epidural, or even a C-section, to be able to support her in a way that she feels loved and respected through the entire process so that she can walk away feeling good about her birth experience. We truly believe that women deserve the birth that they desire. And whatever that is, it seems that for a lot of women, there's a lot of fear around the birth. And when they're exposed to our culture, whether they are from here or they're from overseas, a lot of it is a shock to the system. Where when they want something so simple as just a natural, smooth, and safe delivery, often turns out to be something complicated or something difficult. Women often find a lot of obstacles along the way, even though whatever desire that they have seems to be so basic. We're very big on promoting mother and baby bonding, keeping the mother with the baby as much as possible and as long as possible from the moment the baby is born until early postpartum. And if for whatever reasons mother-baby bonding is not possible because the mother is not feeling well, then we definitely want baby to be doing skin to skin with the father for as much as possible when skin to skin is not possible with the mother. So what do you need to know about having a baby in Singapore? Firstly, it's very important to choose an obstetrician. There is no midwifery care that's recognized in Singapore. So when you're pregnant, you need to choose an obstetrician. And often when people choose an obstetrician, they choose someone based on how they make them feel, which means that they choose someone based on bedside manners and not necessarily philosophy of care. It is very important to elicit your doctor's philosophy of care, whether they lean towards active management, where they like to actively manage the labor, or do they lean towards expectant management of care, where if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Seeing birth and labor and birth and pregnancy as very natural and supporting women through their choices. Given that our cesarean rates are extremely high in this country, World Health Organization's recommended cesarean rate globally is between 11 to 13%. Singapore's public hospital has about 25 to 35% cesarean rate and is increasing every year. Private hospitals have about 40 to 50% cesarean rate, and again, it's increasing every year. And some private doctors would even have a 90% cesarean rate. So given that the cesarean rates are very high, women who actually do end up having a vaginal birth, you would be able to say 80 to 90% of them would end up having an epidural. So when women are choosing alternative options, when they want to have a drug-free birth, a water birth, often it is a lonely road because the care providers don't seem to be very supportive of these options, or even just finding a place of birth that will offer these options seems to be very limited. So when you choose an obstetrician, remember to ask open-ended questions, not questions that ends with a yes or no. Find out, elicit, and find out their philosophy of care. For example, if I go past my due date, how much time will you give me before induction becomes necessary? Open-ended questions like that to find out how they will manage your labor, how much time are they going to give you, and how much choices will be available to you. After you've chosen an obstetrician, it is important to choose a pediatrician. Once your baby is born, your baby will be assigned a pediatrician. If you don't choose a pediatrician beforehand, your obstetrician will allocate a pediatrician for you. It is important to choose a pediatrician that is mother and baby friendly, as well as breastfeeding friendly. Now, whilst that may sound like a shock, like expecting everyone to be breastfeeding and mother baby friendly, unfortunately, that is not the culture over here. So once again, ask open-ended questions to find out their philosophy of care, common issues that usually happen during the newborn stage that might prevent or make breastfeeding a little bit harder. It's really important in order to be able to breastfeed successfully, to have a doctor that is really supportive in mother-baby friendliness as well as breastfeeding friendly. When it comes to choosing a place of birth, you can choose to birth at a hospital, you can choose to birth at home, or you can choose to birth at the Four Trimesters birth sanctuary, which is an in-between option between the hospital and a home. It is still considered a home birth, but not at your own home. Why would most people start thinking about having an out-of-hospital birth experience? Simply because they're looking for other choices and they find that other alternatives are not given to them, or they find that they're penalized for wanting alternatives. For example, if a woman chooses to have a water birth in a private hospital in Singapore, they pay an additional 4,000 Singapore dollars just for the facilities in order to have a water birth. Because the barriers to entry to have something so simple and basic becomes so difficult in Singapore, more and more women and their families are choosing to birth at Four Trimesters birth sanctuary or to have a home birth in order to achieve a simple desire of having a good birth experience. Once you've chosen your obstetrician, pediatrician, and your place of birth, it is also important to choose antenatal classes to help you prepare for the birth. Going through labor and the preparation for labor is like preparing for a marathon. 80% of the work is done before the marathon itself, which is the training program prior to the marathon. In the same way, prior to your labor-thon, 70 to 80% of the work is done prenatally, and antenatal classes will help you get the information that you are needing to prepare. You can have someone who reads a lot, but if they don't know how to apply what they have read, it is not going to be very helpful for them. So this is where Four Trimesters antenatal classes helps you to bridge the gap between what you read, what you understand, and how to apply it. And most importantly, give you the tools and skills to have an easier, shorter, more relaxed and comfortable birth. 50% of the content of what you're going to learn during the antenatal classes would be for the mother, and the other 50% would be for the birth partner. Why is that so? All the hormones that a woman uses during labor are the exact same hormones that she uses when she makes love. So it's very important for a woman to feel safe. When she goes into labor, it's going to consume 200% of her, which means that she cannot be worrying about her birth partner knowing what to do, whether her birth partner is all right. All she can focus on is herself and her baby. Her birth partner has to take care of everything else. So I often describe a laboring mom as the star. And as the star of the show, all she wants to do is look good, get ready, go up and perform. The birth partner and his birth team is responsible for everything else to ensure that the show will go on. Backstage production, ticket sales, seating, everything. So that the woman can just focus on doing what she needs to do. If you decide to attend our antenatal classes, what do you expect? We have 2 types of classes where you can take the 6 classes on Saturdays from 2 to 6 p.m. or you can do it intensively where we cover 2 modules a day. So you finish it in 3 classes on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now the hours may sound really long, but our classes are highly interactive, very informational and extremely hands-on. A lot of parents have a lot of fun attending the classes and even find it a very fulfilling part of their journey in helping them have an easier, shorter, more relaxed and comfortable birth. So in the first class, we are going into mental and emotional preparation for childbirth, helping you understand what is the concept behind pain, why do we actually experience pain in childbirth, and how do we overcome pain, how to work together as a couple towards the birth that you are wanting. In the second class, we go into the physical preparation for childbirth, and we teach you exercises that you need to know during pregnancy that will optimize your pelvis in order to create more space for this baby to be born. So the first and second class is to show you what's possible and to teach you how to work with your body from a 3-pronged approach, mental, emotional, and physical, in order for you to have an easier, shorter, more relaxed and comfortable birth. Our aim is to give you the tools and skills necessary to have a shorter birth. The moment your birth time is shorter, you're going to reduce medical interventions. and a lot of pain relief and the cascade of interventions that usually takes place and contributes to a C-section. In class 3 and 4, I bring you back down to earth where we go into the logistics of giving birth. When we go through the birth plan, we don't just go through plan A, we have plan B, plan C, plan D, for in case things don't go as planned, what are you going to do? And in class 4, we talk about what's normal, what's not normal. How do you know when it's safe to stay at home? How do you know when you need to go to the hospital? As well as comfort measures. And most importantly, if labor is not progressing, what are the things that you can do to help labor to progress? So class 1 to class 4 is focused on birthing. And when it comes to class 5 and class 6, it is to survive the first 6 weeks. The first 2 weeks is the most precarious and the most stressful for most parents. And the first week is extremely crucial in succeeding in breastfeeding. So the first 6 weeks is what we focus on. You'll find that most mothers will say that it takes at least 6 weeks to settle into breastfeeding. And then once they're done with that, they feel a lot more settled and they find their way through parenting. So you can see from the photos that antenatal classes are very interactive and very fun. No one's falling asleep despite the long hours, and you'll be well fed. Some of you may be interested in having a doula at your birth. We have 2 types of doula services: birth doulas, where they're going to be with you during pregnancy, labor and birth, and support you through early postpartum, or postpartum doulas, where they support you after you have given birth. When you choose to have a doula at your birth, most men will describe doulas as the basketball coach or the project manager, while most women will actually describe the doula as the personal trainer or the wedding planner. The doula does not do the work for you. The doula is going to facilitate and work with the both of you to work towards the birth that you are wanting. Even though she's going to be there during labor and birth, she is not going to take away the role of the partner. In fact, it is going to make the role of the partner a lot easier because the birth partner can then relax, having someone to assist him or her. The birth partner will be able to relax and focus on the laboring mother. If you choose to have a doula at your birth and you specifically want a 4 trimesters doula, we only take on clients who attend our antenatal classes to ensure that we speak the same language and we optimize your chances of having an easier, shorter, more relaxed and comfortable birth. If you are birthing at the hospital, we have the 4 trimesters hospital birth doula package, which consists of 2 prenatals, birth support, and 3 postnatal visits. All our clients will be in a group chat, as in you and your birth partner, your primary and your secondary doula. All clients are assigned 2 doulas. Your primary doula will be in charge of your overall care, and your secondary doula, just in case for whatever reasons your primary doula is not available, the secondary doula will be there to step in until the primary doula is available. If you are planning for vaginal birth after a cesarean, then we have the VBAC doula package where you do not need to attend antenatal classes. We'll have private customized classes for you. So this consists of 4 prenatals, birth support, and 2 postnatal visits. Those of you who are planning to have a home birth or to birth at the birth sanctuary, you will be under the 4 trimesters home birth doula package where you have 2 prenatals, birth support, and 2 postnatal visits. In this doula package, you have 2 doulas assigned to you during your birth, which means that your birth team will be made up of at least a team of 3 doulas. In case one is not available, there is someone else who's going to be there as backup. And of course, if you only want to have support after you've given birth, we have the postpartum doula package available. If you choose to birth with us, it is similar to having a home birth out of your own home experience. It is a very loving and intimate experience, as you can see from the photos. It doesn't mean that if you have a home birth that there is no one going to be around. In fact, it is actually carefully planned and laid out and extremely safe, as you will still need to have an obstetrician as well as a pediatrician, and the doulas will work together with the obstetrician and pediatrician to ensure that your pregnancy, labor and birth is as smooth as possible. The prerequisite for home birth would be a low-risk pregnancy, and the doctor would have to give the go-ahead that you are a suitable candidate for a home birth for us to be able to work with you. The other prerequisite is you would have to take our 4 trimesters antenatal classes, whether you do it through a group or you do it privately, as well as engage our doula services. Why would some people choose to birth with us? Simply because we really support your choices and we have a philosophy of care that seems to align with women wanting a smoother, safer, and a more intimate birth experience. If you choose to birth with us, you'll find that your labor playground will be all set up for you. You can have the gym ball, the birth stool, having a birth robe. You can choose shower, moving in any position that you want. And 90% of our clients will end up having a water birth. This is one of my favorite photos of a woman in labor, just seconds before she actually birthed her baby. Look at her right after. The whole process where you can see the baby's head crowning and the baby's coming out. And finally, the baby's in her arms. You are free to labor and birth in any position that feels right and comfortable for you. You can also choose to have a water birth in a built-in tub or rent an inflatable tub in order to have your partner with you. If you already have toddler or other children, your children and family they are actually welcome to join you for the birth if that is something you would prefer. If you choose to birth with us, there are 2 options. You can choose to birth only and go home right after. That will be under the 4 trimesters continuous birth doula package, where you just come to give birth and go home. This covers 22 hours of labor and 6 hours postpartum. The more popular option would be people who choose to birth with us and stay with us postnatally in order to be supported through parenting. The aim of staying with us is to be empowered to know exactly what to do before they go home, which they find it makes the transition into parenting a lot smoother. So we also have clients where they belong in the high risk category or for whatever reasons choose to birth at the hospital. And you'll find that you'll give birth to the hospital and transfer to our premises within 24 hours. So the 4 trimesters continuous birth and or postpartum doula package costs $2,000 a night, a minimum of 2 nights stay, maximum of 6 nights stay, including labor. If you choose to have a baby in Singapore, there are 4 types of costs that would be incurred. First would be the obstetric costs, where you would have costs incurred for pregnancy, for delivery, and for early postpartum. Second cost would be a pediatrician, where you might see the pediatrician to interview the pediatrician to see if the pediatrician is a good match for you during pregnancy, and having the pediatrician visit you at your place of birth, as well as additional costs after, depending on what kind of test you are choosing to do. Other costs could be costs of antenatal classes, doula services, exercise classes, chiropractic, healthcare, so on and so forth. And place of birth would be for people who choose to birth at a hospital or choose to birth at a 4 trimesters birth sanctuary. Now, if you'd like to find out more, you're more than welcome to book a financial counseling session with me or watch one of our financial counseling videos to understand more of the costs involved if you want to have a home birth. So if you choose to birth at 4 trimesters birth sanctuary, this is just one of our rooms, and you can see it looks like a bedroom where we have several stations. We have the bed with co-sleeper next to it. We have the dining area, the living area, and the baby changing station, as well as the bathroom attached. And that's how the room looks after you've given birth. During labor itself, it's set up as a labor playground, so we'll have a lot more props, such as the inflatable tub, the birth stools, gym balls, so on and so forth. The other room we have is called Ria. It's the same size as Gaia, except that it has a partition. So it still has the same stations. The only difference is it has a partition in this room. See the dining area, breastfeeding area, sleep area. And if for whatever reasons we seem to be fully booked during the month that you are giving birth, then the birth lounge will be converted into an emergency birth room where we have successfully had women give birth here and we're very happy with the space. And that's how it looks like. So if you choose to find out more, you can book a meet and greet session with me. You can choose to WhatsApp us at +65 966 44565, or drop us an email at iwantagoodbirth@fourtrimesters.com. Wishing you a good and smooth birth experience. I hope you found this talk helpful for you.